Hello and welcome to the Atelior training for the 2020 Colorado Seatbelt Survey. In this series of video tutorials, I will be introducing you to the iPad digital solution that we are implementing this year and giving you step-by-step instructions for collecting and submitting your survey data, your mileage and expenses, and your timesheets. This is our first year implementing a solution with iPads. But with your help and attention to detail, we will have more accurate data and a more efficient and timely process. To collect all of the necessary information, we will be leveraging 3 different applications pre-installed and configured on your device. We have the Seatbelt Survey app to collect the data that you've traditionally collected on paper. You will also use Expensify to track and submit your mileage and expenses. And to clock in and out, you will be using TSheets. You will also be able to view your daily schedule and make use of mapping to your next assignment. As you can see, a typical day requires you to go in and out of each of these apps throughout your workday. Understandably, this may seem overwhelming to you at first. However, with this training and some checklist reminders that we will provide you, we know that you are all capable of making this transition. Since your day should always start with clocking in, we will start our training in this video tutorial for TSheets. This is a commonly used application by many businesses, and it has lots of features. But we've identified only a few that we will need as our key features and the most efficient way of using this application. So please stick to these specifics so that we have a consistent and standard method to our process. Once you've logged into your iPad, your home screen should look something like this. Here, you'll find the 3 apps that you will use during your surveys. Note that these iPads are Atelior company equipment, and they're not intended for personal use. So do not install additional applications unless needed for this project, and only if you're instructed to do so. The first thing you'll typically do in a workday is clock in. You'll be recording time not just for your surveys, but also for your preparation time in advance when you are mapping your sites and planning your schedule, as well as training in advance of the surveys. Since we clock in using TSheets, we'll start there. Touch this icon to open the app. TSheets has 4 main views accessible at the bottom of the screen to perform different tasks. There's the overview screen, the time clock screen, time sheets, and schedule view. The final section, more, has administrative tasks that your supervisors will be using. We'll start on this overview screen. This shows whether you are clocked in and what job or task you are currently doing. It also shows your daily and weekly totals for the current week. Below that, you'll see your upcoming schedule of survey sites. You can scroll up on the overview page to see more information, including the full schedule for the day. The first thing that you need to do at the beginning of the day is clock in. We want to get in the habit of doing this from the clock in view, from the time clock view, my apologies. When you select time clock, you are brought to this screen. Here, you'll see that you're not yet clocked in, as status reads off the clock. But first, you'll need to select the appropriate activity. When you select this box, you are brought to select an activity list. You will choose from this list, and we want you to ignore all of the county and site ID options here listed. You'll see Morgan 606, 607, and 608. Ignore those. The three options that you will choose from start with a number, so you may need to scroll down to select. Your normal options will be training and certification. This will be both online as you watch these videos, as well as in person with your supervisors when you are doing your basic orientation training, as well as certification on these digital solutions. There's a survey preparation option. Once you've received your assignments, you will be clocking in under survey preparation in order to do your mapping and schedules for the day. And finally, 003 survey data collection. This will be your normal pre-mobilization and statewide survey work where you're at a site collecting data. Since we are simulating a normal survey data collection activity, we will select it here. When you select it, you are immediately returned to the time clock view. You'll notice that our activity code has changed to survey data collection, and now we can clock in. Please select the green box at the bottom. Once you clock in, you'll notice a few changes now on the time clock view. First, a timer has begun and shows how long you've been clocked in. Also, your options at the bottom have changed, where you see take a break, clock out, and switch. If you are stopping for lunch or do personal errands or business around town, you can either take a break or clock out. Our preference is that you use clock out. In our processes, also note that you will not need to ever use the switch option in a normal day, so please ignore this. Finally, on this screen, as you scroll up a bit, you'll see a display of your current position, not a position for any of your sites, but your current position only. Now that you're clocked in, we will begin looking at the assignment in just a moment. Please note, according to TSheets, once you've clocked in, the app will stay clocked in even if you lose cell coverage. However, we have experienced a little bit of glitchiness. So please get in the habit of recording your daily time on paper too to compare at the end of the day. At this point, we are going to switch now to the schedule view. Please select it here. On your schedule screen, we will see a listing for all of your upcoming scheduled site surveys. You'll see that on February 25th, I have site surveys in Morgan County with IDs 606, 607, and 608. Please understand that the assignment time that I've given, here listed as 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 3 o'clock, are not as important as the order of the sites. We understand that things happen in the field where you may end up at a site much earlier or much later than anticipated. So these assignment times are simply guidelines. or rough estimates. The order of your assignments is important, however, because these are based off of the optimal driving routes for a grouping of survey sites. During your 002 survey preparation time, you will be creating your daily schedule and submitting that to me, Todd, to add to your TSheets schedule. You will receive training and support to do this. For now, let's select your assignment. 606. This will take you to the details screen for that survey site assignment. The primary detail that you come to for this page, on this page, is the coordinates that you see listed here. Please note, do not clock in from this page, even though you see a clock in option at the bottom. This is not part of our process. This will switch you to billing time against this site rather than the activity that we've indicated, survey data collection. Your prep work done in advance should include a backup of mapping to your daily scheduled location in the event that you lose cell coverage, or the software stops working, or for any other reason that you cannot rely on this GPS mapping tool. You will have a backup in hand to get you to your next survey site. However, in most instances, when you do have cell coverage, this is a very convenient tool to get you to your next site. By simply touching the coordinates, you will launch Google Maps. If you have cell coverage, then you'll see the exact location of your selected survey site. When you select directions, you are taken to that familiar screen in Google Maps, where you can choose your desired route, and Siri will guide you directly to your assigned site. Now, typically, you would begin driving. You're going to drive to your site, and you're going to begin your survey in a different application, the 2020 Seatbelt study, which we will cover later in a separate tutorial. Please note that you can get back to the iPad's home screen by simply pushing the button at the bottom of the screen. Let's say that you've just completed your first scheduled site, which was listed as Morgan 606. And now you're ready to drive to your next site. So we'll go back into TSheets. We will open it and go to the schedule view. You are still clocked in to the 003 survey data collection activity, so we don't need to go back to time clock. You can do that to verify, though, that you are still clocked in. Instead, we are going to the schedule view, and here we will select the next site from your displayed schedule for the day. Site number 607 in Morgan County. When you select that, you are taken to the details again, where you can touch the GPS coordinates to link you again to Google Maps to find your directions. A reminder again, you need to ignore the clock in option at the bottom. You are already earning time on the survey data collection activity. If you clock in here, it will collect your time against that site, and that would complicate our time tracking reports. So please do not clock in from this view. Now you will continue through your day until you complete your schedule, repeating this same activity over and over until you complete all of your sites. You may get into a situation, whether it's weather, road conditions, you may be feeling sick, where you cannot complete all of the sites that you originally scheduled for the day. In this case, you notify both Todd and Richard as soon as you can, and we will discuss how to reschedule the missing sites. So now we've reached the end of the day. Your last survey is completed and you have arrived home. It's time to clock out. We go back to the time clock screen. Where you will select the clock out option. You'll see now in the time clock view that you are off the clock. You'll do the same to clock off even if it's not the end of the day, but you have personal errands to run or you want to take a break for your lunch. When you are done with that break and ready to start again, simply select or confirm the correct activity and clock in again. Finally, we're going to explain just a little bit about the final view on TSheets, labeled as More. These are capabilities that will typically be used by your supervisors. The main one that we as supervisors will be using is Who's Working. We can see each team member and know first who all are clocked in, and we can see a team member's current location. When we view a location, we pull you up in real time. We can even select the play button to see your route for the day. So why is this important? If we know that you are supposed to be working, but it shows that you're off the clock, we can remind you to clock in, or we can adjust your time card. We will also be performing unannounced quality control observations, which you should have been told about or experienced in past surveys. And we'll be observing each team member during the pre-mobilization and statewide surveys. This capability helps us to find you exactly where you're located. Finally, another reason that we have this capability is that we have an obligation to our client, CDOT. This provides an extra layer of auditing. We're auditing the quality of our reporting that we provide them, and we want to ensure that each survey has been conducted in the correct location and at the specified time in our report. Thank you for joining me for this first of a series of videos that will be providing you step-by-step instructions. We've just completed the guide for TSheets. Next, we'll be looking at your mileage and expense tracking in the Expensify app. Thank you.